Hey, this is Scotty, and on the screen we have a piece of code that will compile just fine, but it is a mistake. Can you see why? Well, we are passing true into our condition of our if statement, which means that this will always execute. This renders the decision making of our program useless. Let's go ahead and hop into a true pure example. So inside of this file, we have a named variable. That named variable is age, and it is storing a value of 20. Now let's go off to fairy tale land, and let's assume we have a man named Gandalf, and Gandalf owns a club. Gandalf wants to write a program that will allow him to check if someone is old enough to enter his club. Now in this case, the age requirement is 18. Now Gandalf is going to use a conditional block to help him with this use case. Now what is a conditional block? Well, it is a piece of code that only executes if a condition is met. And in order to understand how an if statement works and how it is a conditional block, I'm going to break down the structure for you. On the screen, we start with the keyword if. This is a keyword provided by JavaScript. This tells the program that a decision needs to be made. Next, we have a set of parentheses. And inside these parentheses is where we pass our condition. In this case, we're using a comparison operator, the greater than or equal sign, to go ahead and check to see if age is greater than or equal to 18. Lastly, we have curly braces. Now inside of the curly braces is the code that will execute if our condition is true. Now we can see that number is 20. 20 is greater than 18. So we will go ahead and print console.log, enter. I'm going to go ahead and kick up this file. And we can see that you can enter has printed to the screen. Now let's go ahead and check to see if someone walks up. And they're actually 17. Let's see what happens. We can see that no value has printed to screen. That means Gandalf's program here is working, that only people who are 18 or over may enter. We have another problem here. We are not printing anything to the user when they cannot enter. So when we use an if statement, we can combine it with something called an else. Now an else is another keyword, and I'm going to do some live coding here. And when the if statement condition is false, our else code runs. So I'm going to run console.log, you shall not pass. So if we go ahead and kick up, we can see that the if statement is now running, because 17 is not greater than or equal to 18, and we are printing inside of this else statement. The last part of conditional blocks with if else is another keyword or two keywords called else if. So what happens if we have multiple conditions? Let's change our imaginary story here, and let's say Gandalf is a teacher, and Gandalf needs to grade his students' papers. Now a student's score can be 90 or 80 or 70, so you can have multiple conditions if it's an A or a B or a C. Now we use else if to help us with these scenarios. In this example, we have a named variable score that is storing the value of 90. Now Gandalf needs to give out some scores. This student has done very well. They've scored a 90. So when we use these comparison operators, we're going to go ahead and land inside of this first if statement. The score is equal to 90. And here we're checking greater than or equal. If the score is 80, then we would land inside of here, or 82, we would land inside of here. Now the important thing to understand is that with if statements and conditional blocks, they are top down. That means the first time one of your conditions is true, it will execute the code inside of those curly braces, and it will skip everything else. So if this user's score is 82, then we will console.log B, and we will move on with the program. It will ignore everything else. The main takeaway here is that the conditional blocks and these if statements are decision-making tools. So when you use them, you want to make sure that you are passing in conditional checks, or you're comparing two values so that the program can make a decision and execute a specific piece of code that you need it to in that moment. If you're unfamiliar with the comparison operators, please go ahead and check out my video at the end of this tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Always remember, keep learning, keep building.